Now that the 76ers are up 3-0 against the Toronto Raptors, this Philly team is on an absolute roll. Now, first, give the props to the Raptors. They faced so many injuries. Scotty Barnes went down with an ankle injury in Game 1. Thaddeus Young also went down. Gary Trent Jr. pretty much had a sickness for the first two games, but still, they fought pretty hard, and especially in this Game 3, they had a legit shot at winning this game. They forced it into overtime. They had so many good defensive stops, and then Joel Embiid happened. But first, let's talk about the overall series, and it hasn't been pretty for the Raptors, of course. The injury bug, of course, hit them pretty well, but Pascal, he's been okay. He had a pretty bad game 3, only having 12 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists, but game 1, he had 24, came to play. OG Anunoby, though, he's been stepping up so much on both ends. He's been hitting so many clutch threes, even off the dribble threes. Strong drives, getting to his mid-range game, and we know he always has a defense, and OG's development has been so impressive as a guy who used to just be a 3-and-D player to being an elite 3-and-D player to now being able to do some stuff off the dribble, averaging around 17 points and still having that elite defense. Fred VanVleet, he's been solid. I mean, he had 18 this game, 18 in game 1. I mean, no, he had 12 in game 3, which isn't really the best. You would want your all-star to step up more, but Freddie definitely needed to step up. Gary Trent Jr., especially in game 2, he was really good. He put up 24, hit some clutch shots in OT, hit some really good threes, and they're really going to need his shooting to get this win. I mean, he played 45 minutes, Pascal played 48 minutes too, and they're just going to need so many people to step up. But the Sixers, bro, this team looks so dangerous, especially if Joel Embiid. Well, we know what Joel Embiid is gonna do. He put up 33, 12, and 2. Just, especially, it was just so electrifying to see the diversity in Embiid's game. We know he can do the post ups. We know he can pretty much post up anyone in the entire NBA, get a fadeaway, get around the basket, get a foul. But just seeing his overall game improve, good passes to shooters, especially in overtime where he hit that like 360 free throw line jump shot, that was so impressive for a 7-foot guy. And then of course the game winner, catching the ball, turning around, jump shot, clean switch. I don't even think some guards can do that. And it's so impressive how effortless Joel Embiid makes it seem like. Now, will he win MVP? Maybe not. I would personally give it to Jokic, but you can't deny how good Joel Embiid has been this season, how dominant he's been, and especially in the playoffs when like he's gonna get doubled, he's gonna need to step up as a passer. That's when his shot is gonna be even more important. And Joel Embiid, he's that superstar that we know they can rely on. Then you have like Tyrese Maxey stepping up. He of course had like 38 in game 1. Yeah, and Tyrese Maxey's been so impressive. I mean, he's just pretty much been their X factor. He had 19 points today. He's just so fearless. He's willing to take any shot, even if there's the best defender in the entire NBA on him. His floater is so game. His floater is such a good move. And he suddenly became one of the best three-point shooters in the entire NBA. I mean, like, coming out of college, his three-point shot was a pretty big question. A lot of people knew that he could drive. He had a clean floater. His defense was solid. But his three-point shot, that was a really big question mark. And he's developed it to be over. I think, like, he's third in the NBA in three-point percentage, which is absolutely incredible in only his second year. James Harden, I don't know, just James Harden doesn't feel like James Harden. Just he isn't as fast. He doesn't have the quick first step, and he just been pretty bad. I mean, game 1 he had 22 and 14, and yes, the passing will always be there, but he just hasn't had that scoring punch that they need. In game 2 he only had 14. Game today he had 19 and 10, which and he fouled out. And like he played solid, he hit some couple big shots, but he just doesn't look like the James Harden we know from Houston and even from early Brooklyn. And they're gonna need that to step up. And I think that also Tobias Harris, he was pretty good the first two games. I mean, he had 20 in the first game, 20 and 10. He had another double-double, only 11 points, and it's going to take some time, of course, to get accumulated to the overall offense with James Harden being there, Tyrese Maxey stepping up. But if he can step up, then this team is so deadly. They blew out the Raptors when Tobias Harris played at least above average. And if he can do that, that makes this team even scary. Then their role players. Danny Green hit some big shots, Georges Niang, and yes, their overall depth is not definitely amazing, but If those guys step up, James Harden, Maxey, and Tobias Harris, then this Sixers team can be on a roll. They probably will win this series. I mean, I would personally, it's probably going to be Sixers in 5. I think the Raptors are going to be able to pull out one game at least. But still, I mean, if they do, they're most likely going to face the Heat in the first round and the second round, which is going to be a really good matchup. I mean, Bam on Embiid, not really the best matchup, but that's when you need someone like Tyrese Maxey, James Harden, Tobias Harris to step up to ease the load overall on Joel Embiid. And what is just the Sixers have looked so impressive so far. And yes, their depth hasn't been amazing, but we'll see. And I've been really impressed with the Sixers team. Next, let's go to Bucks versus Bulls, and that was such an impressive win overall by the Bulls. And yes, I know the Bucks haven't really looked amazing. Chris Middleton got hurt. Bobby Portis got hurt. Drew Holiday has been struggling the first 2 games, though he was definitely a lot better this game. But overall, the Bucks have not looked that impressive. And I mean, they of course have Giannis, and Giannis is still gonna do what he does. But the first game, I mean, they played really bad, and they gave the Bulls a shot to win this game, even when DeMar, Zach LaVine, Vooch all played pretty bad overall. But they still got that win. Giannis 27, Chris and Drew played pretty bad. But overall, this game too, not the best game for the Bucks overall. And especially when I was watching the game, I just couldn't believe that Alex Caruso was guarding Giannis, and Giannis was not taking advantage of that every single time. And that was just kind of hard to watch. I mean, Caruso, of course, amazing defender. He's such a lengthy, smart defender. But this is Giannis we're talking about. And having a 6'5" guard on you, you gotta take advantage of that. Chris Middleton got hurt, so hopefully he's okay. Brook Lopez stepped up. He got a really big and one at the end of the game. Drew Holiday hit a couple big shots, but overall, he hasn't been amazing. And then Wesley Matthews, Pat Connaughton, Grayson Allen, they all play solid. Hopefully Bobby Portis as well too. But this Bulls team, a very impressive win. DeMar DeRozan, 41 points. The game clinching shot over Giannis. And yes, he kind of went a little bit cold in the fourth quarter. I think he missed his last 5 shots before the shot over Giannis, but still, what a performance from mid-range, getting to a spot, and that's just what DeMar does. Patrick Williams stepped up too. Vooch played solid, hit a big 3, 24 and 13. That's a good Vucevic game. Zach LaVine, yes, I would like to see him get the ball a little bit more, though DeRozan did step up, but Zach, still amazing. And Alex Caruso, I know the stats he doesn't pop off, but 9, 10, and 2. Alex Caruso was probably one of the most influential offseason moves this season, and as a Laker fan, it's so much pain to see Caruso leave them and be so good, but I'm happy for Caruso. He stepped up, his passing was incredible, his defense was good, guarding Giannis Antetokounmpo. Alex Caruso guarding Giannis, that's crazy, and he hit some big shots. I mean, his passing defense was there, and yes, I would probably like more than 7 minutes of Ayo Dosunmu because he's one of their best defenders, but we'll see. And this series has looked a lot better, I mean, than expected. The Bulls won a game, which a lot of people saw the Bucks sweeping, but I still think the Bucks won the series. I mean, Giannis is not going to let this. Drew Holiday will most likely play better. Their depth will be a lot better, but it's going to be an interesting series to watch. So those are going to be my thoughts about the Sixers series and the Bulls-Bucks series. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you on next time.